Welcome back to another episode of the Be Better podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Orr. I'm the founder of Primal Energies. I'm an online men's coach who helps tired, stressed, burnt out men become the energized, stress-free, calm, stoic dads that run the business, run the family, run their own health like they are superhumans and just live a life that they absolutely love without limitation. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm an all-round health and just mindset nut. And so I do a lot of deep thinking, and I've coached over 500 guys, and I've helped them to shift their mindset. And playing with perspectives is something that I vividly enjoy doing. I enjoy playing with perspectives and just the mindset in general, because I feel your mindset literally shapes everything in your world. There's very little in life that we can actually change, but our perspective deems it, whether we view things as positive, as negative, consequently then how we feel about them, which then results in how much or how little action we take towards that thing, and just our life in general, right? And so perspectives and analogies, I find, can be really helpful in, creating frames in how we make decisions and how we live our life, right? There have actually been studies for, the effects of stress on the mind and how detrimental or not stress is. And so a fun fact for you, they studied these people and asked them how they viewed stress. And the people that viewed stress as being negative, bad for your health, it was bad for your heart, it was all these things, over this study, ended up suffering a lot of those consequences that they associated with that stress from high stress. And the people that viewed stress as a necessary part of life, as challenging, but it's the precursor to growth and a more positive outlook, actually viewed stress vastly differently and consequently didn't suffer any of those issues that other people did because of that stress, despite having the same level of reported amounts of stress. So, fun fact for you, it's not how much stress you have, but it's how you view stress. And so this episode is more directed at parents, at people that feel like they don't have enough time, at people that have a lot of big decisions coming up. And so I've been working on this framework, and because whenever we make decisions, right, there's always repercussions. Whenever we say yes to something, we are inadvertently saying no to something else, right? Whenever you say yes to a night in, you're saying no to other options. Whenever you say yes to that sleep in and to snoozing the alarm, you're saying no to that discipline that you said you were going to work on. You're saying no to that workout you said you were going to do. When you say yes to that takeout, that easy, cheap dopamine, you're saying no to, the healthy diet, the body that you want, the health that you want, the work that you should be doing that you're procrastinating on social media or porn or any of those other cheap dopamine hits, right? And so that no, or that opposite, isn't always obvious. It's not always obvious. The repercussions, when we're saying yes or no to something, it's not always obvious the other options out there or the repercussions to that. And so, especially being in the coaching space, not just obviously coaching other people, but also being coached and mentored so heavily over the last 5-6 years, I have a very different view on, the way that I would trade my time and money, right, as two of our biggest resources. I'd say our three biggest resources are time, money, and energy, right? If you lack any of those, life is going to be pretty hard. But if you've got all three in an abundance, you're set for a pretty damn good life. And so this analogy that I want to introduce you to, I haven't heard it from anybody else, so somebody else may have coined it, I don't really know, but I want to introduce you to this, and you can use this as a framework for making decisions, whether it's in your business or for your health, for your family, for your relationships. And I hope this is helpful in the same way that's it's helped me. And so bear with me as I try to articulate this, but this analogy and the way that you can use this, or the way that you can think about these decisions and what you're saying yes or you're saying no to, is we've got the bank of life, right? So you open up this app, you've got the bank of life. The bank of, for me, it's the bank of Harrison. It's the bank of whoever you are. And you've got different accounts. So you've got your money, all your savings and your assets and your total net worth, all that stuff. And you've got, which is a unlimited amount, right? You can draw from that, you can add to that. That's an ever-changing number. Then you've got your time account, which you don't know how much is in there, but it's forever decreasing. Whatever is in there, there will never ever be more than there is in there right now, but you don't know how much is in there. Then you've got your health as another account, which, like the money, can go up and down, but certain things will take bigger chunks and make that more, like, we'll reduce that and we'll add more to that. But again, it's not really a specific number in there. It's more of a scale. And so when we're looking at this bank of life, we're looking at, cool, how much money do I have? Like, these resources, how much time do I have? And how much health do I have? Like, what's my body weight like? What's my stress like my mental health? What's my physique like, my fat level like, my energy levels like, my overall, obviously your blood markers, all that good stuff, they come into that health level. And so when you get to a point, especially in business and being a parent, time is quite often not on your side. Like, how many times have you either maybe said or you've heard other people say, I just wish I had more time. I just need more time. But the problem with that thinking is you're never going to have more time. None of us are. It doesn't matter how rich you get, how poor, how healthy, how unhealthy you get. We will always have 24 hours in a day. And so wishing for more time probably isn't a worthwhile use of your mind or your energy. And so when we look at things that are tangible, like our money, for example, which we can earn more of, we can use that to buy back time, essentially. How can we use those other resources to gain access to more resources in terms of the time, in terms of the health, that we wouldn't otherwise? And so I understand that's a bit conflicting there. I just said you'll never have more time. But as part of our journey in life, there are certain things that just take time, as some would say. And especially if you're a very, I say a typical male who likes to do it yourself, right? I just need to figure it out myself. I'm going to do it myself. I don't need help from anybody else. Go away. You're not paying in money in that sense. You're not paying someone else to help you. Whether it's you're outsourcing something or you're paying a coach to help you with something, you're paying in the time and the energy it takes you to figure that thing out, right? Whether it's a house renovation or it's how to manage your stress or lose weight or how to make more money or whatever it is, you're paying in time, in energy to figure that out. How long that will take you depends. Depends on how much effort and energy you put into it, how well you execute what you do find, how consistent you are with it as well. And so one thing that I have just shifted my perspective massively, especially since becoming a father, is how do I shortcut time as much as possible? Like, when I know where I want to get to in terms of the level of business that I want to have, the level of impact in the world that I want to have, the type of lifestyle and resources I want to have available for my family and for myself. It's how do I spend as much money as I possibly can to shorten that amount of time, right? And obviously this is not going to impact the life I have in terms of like how long my life is, but it will shortcut the time that it takes me in order to get that result. So my logic is, sure, I could eventually figure out how to make $500,000 a year. Eventually, right? It might take my entire life, but I'm sure I would eventually get to that point. But am I willing to A, risk it, and B, take that long? No, I'm impatient. I want everything yesterday, and I'm sure most of you do as well. So then the next question is, who has done it that I can pay to either show me how or to do it for me, right? And so obviously in business and certain things in life, there's things that you can outsource and pay other people to do for you, the done for you model. But a lot of things, especially when it comes to health, it's a done with you process, or you need to do it, but it's having somebody else to hold you accountable, to tell you specifically what to do, to look at your specific situation and say, here, this is what you need to do in order to get this result. Because the problem with our thinking, ours in like humans, is we all have a bias. We all have many biases, actually, and we have many emotional biases. So there's all these biases that stop us from doing things because we don't want to do certain things. We turn a blind eye to other things because maybe it doesn't feel good, it doesn't suit us. We don't really want to do that, so we look for the cheap fix, the shiny object, the quick fix is a better way of doing it. That's why the man shake is worth so much money. Right? Tell guys that you can lose weight without losing the beers. Huge marketing play. Right? That's why they've done so well, because all guys have to do is swap a couple of meals for a couple of shakes. They can still have their beers, very little effort required, and eventually get the result that they want. Massive. And so, if there's something in life that you want to achieve as fast as possible, yes, put your time and energy into it. Put your time and energy into that. But then also ask yourself, what am I paying in? And what is that taking me away from? And so this part of this decision-making framework will also come back to your values as well. Some people will value certain things which make this a good decision-making framework. Other people will say like, no, I value the satisfaction of doing it myself and not relying on other people and all that kind of stuff. And I value having more money than spending it and whatever else. Cool. If that's not you, this podcast probably won't be helpful for you, but I hope everybody else that has a similar mindset to myself in terms of this allocation of these resources, then I hope it helps you in the same way that it's helping me. And so when you have this bank of life, every time we want to achieve something, looking at this bank of life, looking at your different accounts and asking yourself, how do I want to pay? Do I want to pay to achieve this result in energy, in sweat equity, as some people call it? Do I want to pay in time? In figuring time and energy, figuring it out myself, trialing and error, like doing all that kind of stuff? Or do I want to pay in money, still have to put some time and energy in, vastly less, but I cut down that time in terms of what it's going to take me to achieve that thing and to get to that result? And so I think we can make much better decisions when we view this for what it really is. Because just saying, no, I don't want to pay that money. Awesome. But ask yourself, are you then willing to invest the time and energy in order to get that result? Because if you are, and that's the decision that you make, awesome, cool, you've made an informed decision. But if you're then saying, well, no, I don't want to invest, I don't want to use the money, I don't want to use the time, I don't want to use the energy, then we've got ourselves a situation here. Because either one of those has to change, or maybe you don't want that thing. Maybe you don't want that result, which is fine, right? Deciding that you don't want something and it's actually not that important is the easiest way to solve any problem, easiest way to achieve any goal. Just decide that it's actually not that important. It'd be a nice to have, but it's not that important. It doesn't align with your values or what you would have to trade in terms of that time, energy, or money is not worth it to you at this stage in life, which is totally cool, by the way. Right? No disrespect or no shade on anyone that decides that. But I can guarantee you, if you decide that, if that's the position you're in, you will save yourself so much stress by making that active decision rather than constantly telling yourself, oh, I need to lose weight. I need to start a diet. I need to do this with my business. I need to do this. I need to do that. If it's not a priority right now and it's not worth it, stop saying it is. Because you'll only hurt yourself in terms of like your self-respect, because you keep saying this thing that you're not going to do. So, your trust of yourself and your own word decreases in value, and consequently so will your confidence, because you keep saying you're going to do this thing, which you clearly haven't. And you'll free up so much mental space. Because how many times do you have something that just pops into your head? Oh yeah, I said I was going to do that. Oh yeah, I said I was going to do that. All those little open loops, those open tabs in the back of your mind, just running in the background, taking up that mental space, when you could just make that active decision of, you know what, maybe one day, but not right now, and then push it to the side. And then so, assuming you haven't made that decision, if you've made that decision, cool, case closed, move on. But then if you're in that other space of, well, I want to get the business to a certain level. I really want to get on top of my health. I really want to just be better so that I can have a better mindset to deal with stress, to be a better present father and husband, or I want to be better for my relationship, for my own health in that business, any of those spaces, then deciding, how am I going to pay? Am I going to pay with money, someone to help me? Am I going to pay with my own time? How long is that going to take me? Am I going to pay with my own energy and effort? And then if that's the case, I'm paying with my energy and effort, because realistically, even if you pay with money, you have to pay with that as well, but it'll be drastically less. If I'm paying with that, what am I saying no to? Because sure, like I said, you could figure it out. But if you figuring it out is going to take you 20, 30, maybe even more, I don't know, let's say 20 hours a week on top of everything else that you're already doing, where is that time going to come from? Are you pinching that time from your sleep? From your health? Are you pinching that time from, the workouts or the fitness or the other health aspects, taking time from that? Are you taking that time from family time, from date nights, from time with your kids to, their sporting events, to missing out on that kind of stuff? Are you taking that time from other things that are important to you? Because there's other things in life like socializing, just pure downtime and all those things, which don't generate a specific ROI, but it's still important. We're tribal creatures. We thrive off socialization and being with other people. And so that might be important to you. And so looking at those sacrifices, are you willing to make those sacrifices? And if you are, awesome. Totally cool. But if you're not, what are some other trades that you can make that? And so another way of looking at this, I know Alex Hormozy used this frame and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. A woman in one of his seminars was asking him about how to about investing money in a course or in another mentor to help her make $1 million a year. That was her goal. And he's like, okay, well, how much are you paying right now? Like, how much are you making, right now? And she's like, oh, I'm making $50,000 a year. Cool. Million's a pretty big goal, but okay. So he then asked, well, how much are you willing to pay? And she rattled off some number. It was, maybe a couple of thousand, like not much, but like considering she was only making 50,000, like it was still a significant amount or as a percentage of that. And then he said, well, if you want to make $1 million a year, it's now costing you $950,000 a year in ignorance to not know how to make $1 million a year. Think about that. So the difference in what you're making versus what you want to make, finances are nice and easy because numbers are much easier to conceptualize, but it's costing you that much in money to not make that much money. It's costing you $950,000 a year in ignorance, not knowing how to make that amount of money. And so that frame personally really helped me in justifying how much I'm willing to then spend to get these certain results. Because when you look at those ROIs, it's not just in business, it's easy, but you look at other things because it's not just, a lot of people look at, for example, coaching or personal training. Oh, I'm paying $80 for a 45-minute session. Or I'm paying so many thousands of dollars for 20 or 10, 30-minute calls. Like it's 10 hours of call, it's this much an hour and da. You're not paying for the time, what you're getting. You're not paying for that. You're paying for the result, for the end outcome. Another way of phrasing this is if you've ever been on a flight, like a long flight, maybe from Australia, maybe you've been to Europe or you've been to the US or anywhere of a substantial distance, I should say. When you bought that plane ticket, did you pay that $1,000 because you really wanted to sit in a metal tube in the frickin' sky? You were like, I can't wait to sit in that tiny ass uncomfy chair, look out this tiny ass window the size of my head and watch old frickin' movies and eat stale frickin' food next to people and a crying baby and all this stuff. That's the favorite way I like to spend my time. That $1,000 is well worth it. No, I've never met a single person that wants to do that. But that $1,000 and that plane ride is the ticket for you to get from where you are to where you want to go. Your holiday. And so when you look at some of these investments in that way, like this coaching, this PT, this mentor, this program, this course, this tool, this whatever it is is the ticket that gets me from where I am to where I want to go, and you look at the results, that can really shift your mind. And so it's, what does that result that you have open up? Like, what is having that body or that fitness, that health? What is having that relationship, that presence with your kid, having a business that doesn't require you day in, day out, that you can actually take time off with your family, take the day off to take your partner on a date, to go to your kid's athletics carnival and not worry about the business burning down. The business is still making money. Like, all those things that come with getting that result, what is that worth to you? Right? You can go down the business route and say, well, if I've got all that extra time, then I can put it into high leverage activities, or I can do this, or you can do whatever. But just in general, when you've got that time or that energy or the whatever that tool that you've just acquired or that resource is going to help you achieve, is that worth it? Would you pay that amount of money to lose those 10 kilos? Would you pay that amount of money to have the energy to play with your kids so you can be a part of those core memories, so you can be more effective at work, so that you can, I guess, take the missus on date night, so you can do all these things? Viewing things from that perspective has massively shifted the way that I view investing in myself and my business and growth as well. And obviously, this might sound a little bit biased, or probably does sound a little bit biased to someone that hasn't had coaching before, because obviously I'm a coach, but I also have plenty of my own coaches. To give you a bit of an idea, in the last 2 years, I've spent just about $45,000 on mentoring and coaching for myself in the last 2 years. And that is a hefty amount of money for myself with a young family and everything like that. But I can see and they weren't always the best investments, but I've definitely learned a hell of a lot by making those in my growth personally, professionally, and in the journey along the way. And so if you're out there looking for someone to help you with that, I hope that you find someone that aligns with you. And also, just a tip as well, find someone that also practices what they preach. If they say that they're a coach and they also don't get coaching or mentoring, then I don't know, they might have conflicting thoughts, or a bit, what's the word? You know what I mean, when they say one thing but they don't do it. So I hope that framework has been helpful. So just as a bit of a recap before I summarize, before I end this, the bank of life, when you're making decisions, big, small, anything, the bank of life. You've got your money account, which can fluctuate up and down. You can always, that's unlimited in how much it can grow. Your time is capped, but you're never going to know how much is in there. But you cannot buy more time, but you can shortcut time in terms of the goals that you want to the goals and things that you want to achieve in life by buying resources, outsourcing, and other people to help you achieve those things faster, so you can fast track your journey. And the last one is obviously your health. Your level of health then dictates how well you can spend that time as well. How much energy you have to be efficient, how much energy you have to be productive, to spend with your kids, and how well you can spend that time. And so when you're looking at making a decision, looking at these three accounts in the bank of life, which one are you willing to pay with? Which one are you willing to pay the most with? Is it going to be the money that you can always get back and you can earn unlimited amounts of? Is it going to be the time, which you have a finite amount of, and especially a finite amount of quality time as well? Because the last few years for a lot of people aren't always the best years through mobility, health, and everything else, assuming that you don't have any issues that shortcut or fast track that decline. And also the health, which can fluctuate, but at the same time, if you go too low on that, there's irreversible damage to certain parts of your health as well. So not something that you want to go into debt with for too long either. So asking yourself, what are you willing to pay with? So I hope this framework has been helpful. I hope this just hasn't been 25 minutes of me just absolutely rambling on about absolute garbage. And you're like, Harrison, that makes no sense. I have not followed any of that. And if you feel like that, you probably haven't listened to this far. So if you've listened this far, I hope it's been helpful in making decisions and really identifying how you want to pay for things. Personally, I want to pay for as many things as possible with money so I can have more time and energy to put into things that I wholeheartedly care the most about. And so that's one of my big drivers, to grow businesses and to earn more money so I can contribute more to, I guess, the people that I support and to also my family, and just be a better human and also help other people to live that life as well. So I'd love to hear if this changes your decision-making framework, or if you have any thoughts on this as well, how you're going to utilize this in making decisions, if you're then going to change the way that you think about investing in yourself, your business and your growth, or if you're just happy to spend the time and energy yourself because you're a do-it-yourself kind of person. Either way, I'd like to hear from you. So drop us a note on Instagram or just in the comments below this. But other than that, have an amazing day, my friends. Always, don't be sorry, be better. And I'll see you in the next episode.